Hey everybody, this is Carol Grace Anderson and we're talking about Pawprints of Wisdom, life lessons from our dogs. And of course we all learn something every day about life, and we learn a lot about life from our dogs if we stop to think about it and look at what our dogs do that are so positive and upbeat. We need to be more like our dogs. So we're on location. So we're going to be recording from different places, but we're live right now, and we're going to talk about persistence, because persistence is really the key to so many things. And here's a little stone. It's a little rock. Not Little Rock, Arkansas, but it's a little rock. And this is kind of what a piece of coal looks like. And there's a song called, "I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I'm gonna be a diamond someday." Because a chunk of coal, or a little rock that looks like coal, goes through the fire, goes through all kinds of trials and challenges to keep it going down and to mold it into a diamond. It has to go through all those rough times. And isn't that the way life is often? We go through the rough times to become a diamond, to get polished and to keep going and working at it. So that's what we're going to talk about today, persistence. And I want to thank all of you for watching. And some of you look forward to this on a regular basis. We're so glad. If you like something you hear, please press that like button or the heart button. Press share if you want your friends to watch too. And we'll do all we can. There's a lot of good programming here on Wolf Driver. I like to start out with a quote. So here's a cute one. "There is no psychiatrist in the world like a puppy licking your face." That's by Ben Williams. Isn't that cute? And isn't it true? And then I found a cartoon that kind of goes along with that. It says, "Lassie, get help." And so then you see Lassie go to a psychiatrist to get help. I thought that was cute. So let us know if you're watching. We love to know that you're watching, and click those buttons or make a comment, ask a question. We'll get to it. Last time we had some comments we didn't get to, so Debbie Hupp said, "Classic photo. I can hear your mom laughing." I showed a picture of my mom and my Aunt Mary laughing. Someone else, Carnitha Clark, says, "Thank you." Rebecca Sue said, "Hi." Dana Watkins said, "Thank you. I enjoyed the show." Diane Kogar said, "You are so right. Attitude is a choice, and isn't it? Boy." Jan Bax said, "Another good one. Loved the stories and photo." Ann Pardue Polk said, "It's a great book." She was referring to Pawprints of Wisdom, life lessons from our dogs. And in fact, I was in Atlanta yesterday doing a book signing for Blue Mountain, who is the publisher of our book, Pawprints of Wisdom, life lessons from our dogs. And it was a great experience, and they also are publishing some of my greeting cards. And some of you have asked about, how did I get into that? Well, 5 years ago, I started painting as a hobby. And I had fun doing it, and people said, "These are really nice. They'd be nice cards." I said, "Well, I don't know anything about it." But I went to an art show in New York, an art expo, and it was also a stationery show for greeting cards. And so someone said, "Well, you ought to see somebody who can help you get these published." But I kept walking around, and I was just about ready to give up. My feet hurt from all the walking through all these different rows of things. But when I was ready to leave, I thought, well, I'll take one more step. And I turned the corner, and there was this big booth, and it said Blue Mountain Arts. And I was very familiar with them, so I thought, well, okay, I'll take one more step. And I went there, and I showed them my little book about doggies, and the person who was really the decision maker had been in a meeting, and so he wasn't there. But as I was talking to his assistants, he happened to walk up. And they said, "Oh, here's Dave now." So he came and he said, "What you got?" And I showed him my book, and he said, "That's just what we're looking for." And I handed him my card, and it had some of my artwork on it. And he said, "Oh, did you do this?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "Well, you ought to do some greeting cards for us." Well, I have sent in so many greeting cards that I've done the artwork and the writing. And people say, how did you do that? And I said, you know what? It's not that I'm a great artist. It's just that I am very persistent. I didn't give up. I kept painting and kept learning and going to classes and kept submitting things. And finally, things happened. And then when I was leaving to come back to Nashville, I saw in the Nashville airport, the Atlanta airport, some of my cards in one of the restaurant bookstores. And I saw this one, and this one, and this one, and this one of my favorites. But I couldn't believe it. I felt so excited, but I realized that it's not just, there's so many artists who are way better than I am and way more experienced, but I think it all boils down to persistence, determination. We have to stick to it. To make it happen, we have to keep taking action. So that's what I encourage you. Just like our dogs. You know, our dogs are very persistent and determined. Here's a great picture of a mother who was determined to make sure her little puppies got a good night's rest. Isn't that adorable? Oh, heavens, I just love that. So there's persistence that we can learn, and that's what we have to do in our own lives, is be persistent. If you believe in something and you feel that you're good at it, keep learning and keep doing, because that is what makes the difference in persistence. We have to just keep at it. Keep on keeping on. Isn't that what they say? So we're going to share a story, talk about persistence. And later in the week, I'm going to have some special guests, and they're going to talk about some of their persistent dog stories. I see Gail Ruhlman, you're joined. Great. It's Gail from Westchester. Oh, I'm so glad to see all you here. Oh, Kimberly, she's here. I'll see her soon. Lynn Gage, my sister. Hi from Cincinnati. Hey, why don't you all just type in where you are viewing from? That'd be fun. Because right now we have several different states, New York, Cincinnati. We've had viewers from Germany and Nebraska, so all over the place. But here's a great story of perseverance and how dogs are so determined and persistent. And I'll show you the picture of the dog I'm going to talk about. See, isn't that adorable? Look at him. Now he is, I'll tell you about him. In 2012, a 7-year-old, 70-pound Samoyed Husky mix named Xander was found outside of the same hospital that his owner was staying in. John Dolan got a phone call one morning on his cell phone. He was shocked when the person at the other end told him he was standing outside of the same hospital he was a patient in and had his dog. The dog seemed sad and had been moping around his house before deciding to do something about it. Xander made an arduous 2-mile hike to the hospital that included crossing a nature reserve, stream, and a busy 4-lane highway. Now, if that's not perseverance, I don't know what is. So we've got to persevere, hang in there, just like our dogs do. You know, if your dog has buried a bone or he's wants you to take him out, he will keep after you and keep after you. Talk about determination. Now, you need to be that determined toward what your goals are. Am I right? Because dogs have such great personality. Here's a few things that are fun that dogs do. It says, avoid biting when a simple growl will do. On hot days, drink lots of water and lay under shady trees. When you're happy, dance around and wag your entire body. Bond with your pack. Isn't that true? We all need to bond these days. We need to live in harmony, people. Delight in the simple joy of a long walk. If you stare at someone long enough, eventually you'll get what you want. Isn't that true? So let us know where you are. Oh, one of my classmates is watching. Oh, I'm so glad. Mary Lou, good to see you here. So tell us where you're watching from, because who knows where. It's usually from all over the country. I know some people in Tennessee watch on a regular basis. So please keep letting us know. And, oh, let's see. Oh, boy. There are more and more coming on. Great. We love to have you. And here's another little story about perseverance. I heard about these frogs who were trying to climb up a tower, and they weren't tree frogs, they were just regular frogs. So as the other frogs were gathered around this tower, one frog started to try to climb it to the top. So he kept climbing and climbing, and he got maybe 2 feet and slid down. And all the other frogs were saying, "Are you crazy? You can't climb that tower. You're not a tree frog, and you can't do it." And they slid down. And another one would get over to the base of the tower, and they'd start crawling up and slide down. And the other frogs were laughing and mocking them and saying, "You can't do that. You're a frog." And another one would try and maybe get a whole foot up to this high tower. And he would slide down, and they were all laughing, saying, "You can't do that. You are just a frog." And as they were standing there looking up at this tower, this one frog quietly kept climbing up to the top. And he got closer and closer to the top, and the other frogs were just shocked. How did this one frog get to the top of the tower? And they looked up, and they just couldn't figure it out. And now the frog that made it to the top started slowly descending to get back to his friends down on the ground. And they were all cheering and screaming, like, "How could you do that?" And he just looked at all of them because he was deaf. The frog that made it to the top couldn't hear all the negativity, couldn't hear all the people saying, "You can't do that, you're a frog." So don't let other people detour your dreams. You can just keep climbing, keep at it. That's what persistence, that's real determination. And you can do it. And I hope that you'll check out other channels here on Wolf Driver. And let's put that sign up just so you remember it, Wolf Driver, and we'll share it. And there's great programming. If you want to learn more about how to train your dog, or if you want to learn more about how to understand your dog's behavior, one of the hosts on this network is Britt Savage, and she has a great show, and it's called Wolf Driver News, and she is so much fun. She's a friend of mine, and she's very talented. She's a great singer, and she's great at coming up with these fun dog news stories. And then there's the dog counselor, whose name is Dean Miller, and he's also a singer, but he talks about how to train your dog, and he's very good at it. And there's a new host, his name is Bucky Harris, and he does a show called Woof Diddy. You know P. Diddy? Well, this is Woof Diddy. And so he comes up with all kinds of songs for different breeds of dogs. So check him out. And there's also Barbara Kurtman. She does a show called Animal Secrets, and she is a dog communicator. So check out her show. It's also on the Wolf Driver Network. So we hope that you like our shows that we're presenting. If you have any suggestions or questions, keep them coming. And keep those questions coming. Keep any kind of comments. Share this with all your friends so that if they have a dog, they will know that there's some good programming available, and it's a fairly new show. And Bill Hellman, who's in charge of it all, he has all kinds of adventures. If you go to Wolf Driver, he raises huskies primarily, and also those little Chinese crusteds. But he takes adventures with his dogs at all times of the day and night. So you can catch those, and you'll be right there on the adventure. So check out our channel, Wolf Driver. And we'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope you're having a great Friday wherever you are. Keep sharing, and if you like it, let others know. And we're so glad that you could be with us today. We will see you Friday, and that will be at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, and we're going to have a great time. We're going to have some special guests, very special guests. So join us on Monday, and then we'll see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend, and tell everybody that you know who has a dog that they should check out this channel because there's something just for them. So thanks again for being with us, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.